In the vast expanse of the Andromeda Milky Way bridge, where starlight danced between galaxies like fireflies in an eternal night, the collective spread their influence across 23,000 solar systems. We were proud, perhaps too proud, of our achievements. After all, who else had mastered quantum fold travel? Who else had built Dyson spheres around dying stars just to harvest their last breaths of energy? Who else had elevated consciousness to a shared network that spanned light years? Supreme Coordinator Zen Ra, my subordinate's voice crackled through the neural link. The expansion team has found something unusual in Sector 7. I adjusted my crystalline form, allowing the light from 3 nearby suns to refract through my body in a display of authority. Define unusual, sub-coordinator path. Well, Path's neural signature flickered with uncertainty. We found another civilization, but they're sleeping. The information packet he transmitted made my crystalline structure vibrate with curiosity. The scans showed massive underground facilities spread across thousands of planets in perfectly calculated patterns. Each facility housed millions of bipedal organisms, suspended in some form of temporal stasis we couldn't quite understand. How many, I asked, my thoughts rippling through the collective consciousness. At current count? 800 billion individuals, Supreme Coordinator. 800 billion. The number sent shockwaves through my crystalline form. The collective, with all its glory and advancement, numbered barely 50 billion across all our systems. What do we know about them? I shifted my form to absorb more sunlight, needing the energy to process this discovery. They call themselves humans, Path transmitted, the word feeling strange in our shared consciousness. But here's the peculiar part, Supreme Coordinator. Every facility has the same warning, encoded in over 10,000 different languages. I accessed the transmitted data, and the warning materialized in my consciousness. The message was simple, yet it sent vibrations of unease through my crystalline matrix. Notice, to all spacefaring civilizations, this facility contains humans in designated sleep stasis. Under no circumstances should stasis protocols be disrupted. Failure to comply will result in consequences beyond your comprehension. This is not a threat. This is a mercy. A mercy, I broadcasted, the question echoing through our neural network. What could be so dangerous about sleeping giants that the entire universe needs a warning? Little did I know, our curiosity would be our undoing. The collective had built its empire on knowledge, on pushing boundaries, on asking questions. But perhaps, just this once, we should have heeded the warning. Because some questions, as we would soon discover, are better left unanswered. Lead researcher Nixis Bright hovered over the excavation site, her crystalline form pulsing with shades of electric blue excitement. The ancient warning tablets stretched before her in a spiral pattern, each one perfectly preserved beneath the surface of what humans had once called Mars. The neural network hummed with activity as her team transmitted their findings back to the collective. Look at the precision of these engravings, she broadcasted, her thoughts tinged with wonder. Whoever created these warnings, they weren't taking any chances of being misunderstood. Sub-researcher Nova Spark floated closer, his orange-tinted form casting dancing shadows across the tablets. But why go through so much trouble? These tablets are made of indestructible quantum lock matter. The energy required to create just one would power an entire solar system for a century. Nixis adjusted her light frequency to better examine the intricate details. The tablets contained more than just warnings. They held star charts, mathematical equations, and most intriguingly, detailed biological data about the sleeping humans. Supreme Coordinator, she transmitted directly to Zen Ra. You need to see this immediately. The response came instantly, Zen Ra's powerful consciousness joining their neural link. Report, lead researcher. The humans weren't just put into stasis, they chose this. According to these tablets, they were among the most advanced species in the known universe. They developed technologies we can't even comprehend. Nova Spark interjected, his crystalline form flickering with skepticism. That's impossible. Their facilities use primitive materials. The stasis pods are practically archaic compared to our quantum suspension chambers. That's just it. Nixis's thoughts raced with excitement. It's all a deception. The tablets describe something called Project Chrysalis. The humans knew they were becoming too powerful, too quickly. They were advancing at a rate that threatened the very fabric of space-time. She transmitted the translated data, watching as comprehension rippled through the collective consciousness. The tablets told a story that seemed impossible, yet the proof surrounded them on every side. The species that helped them enter stasis, they called themselves the architects, Nixis continued. They warned that humans had developed abilities that violated the fundamental laws of physics. Some could manipulate matter with thought alone. Others could fold space without technology. A few could even perceive and travel through time. Zen Rei's consciousness pulsed with concern. If what you're saying is true, why would such a powerful species choose to sleep? Nixis directed their attention to the central tablet, its surface covered in complex equations and dire warnings. Because they couldn't control it. Their power was growing exponentially, cascading through their population like a virus. They chose to sleep until the universe was ready, until other species had evolved enough to help them. Help them what Nova Spark asked, his form dimming with apprehension. Help them learn to control their abilities, Nixis transmitted slowly. The tablets say they'll awaken naturally when the time is right, when the collective consciousness of the universe reaches a specific threshold. But if they're awakened prematurely... She didn't need to finish the thought. The warning was clear in the data: premature awakening would trigger a cascade of uncontrolled power, unleashing billions of godlike beings with no way to contain their abilities. Fascinating, Supreme Coordinator Zen Ra mused, but surely after all this time, their powers have diminished. Perhaps we could awaken a small group, study them under controlled conditions. Nixis's form pulsed with alarm. Supreme Coordinator, the tablets are explicit. The stasis doesn't pause their development, it enhances it. Every second they sleep, their potential grows stronger. They're not dormant, they're evolving. The silence that followed was heavy with implications. The collective had never encountered anything like this, a species so powerful they chose to remove themselves from the universe. It challenged everything they thought they knew about consciousness, evolution, and the limits of possibility. What they didn't realize was that their very presence, their probing and scanning and studying, had already started a chain reaction. Deep within the nearest stasis facility, something was stirring. The humans weren't just sleeping anymore. They were dreaming of waking up. The Grand Council chamber of the collective pulsed with agitated energy, thousands of crystalline forms floating in concentric rings around the central debate platform. Their usually harmonious neural network crackled with disagreement, sending rainbow-like distortions through the chamber's transparent walls. Supreme Coordinator Zen Ra occupied the highest point, his form refracting light in complex patterns that demanded attention. The council will come to order, his thoughts rang out, silencing the chaotic mental chatter. We face an unprecedented decision. The discovery of the human stasis facilities requires careful consideration. Elder Lumina, her ancient crystalline form clouded with concern, spoke first. We should seal off every facility. The warnings are clear. We're dealing with forces beyond our understanding. With all due respect, Elder, a sharp thought cut through the chamber. All attention turned to a brilliant green crystalline form rising from the lower rings. That's exactly why we must study them. Cora Vex Zen Ra acknowledged, you're speaking out of turn. And we're cowering in fear of sleeping giants. Cora's form pulsed with passionate colors. Think about it. A species so advanced they could manipulate reality itself. Everything we know about physics, quantum mechanics, spatial dynamics, it's probably child's play to them. We have a chance to learn, to evolve. Security Director Blaze shifted his ruby-red form forward. And what happens when your research accidentally wakes them? 800 billion reality-bending entities suddenly unleashed on the universe. We'd be responsible for potentially the greatest catastrophe in cosmic history. Or the greatest advancement, Cora countered. Her thoughts were clear, calculated, carrying the weight of carefully prepared arguments. Our scans show their stasis technology is incredibly sophisticated despite its apparent simplicity. Just understanding how it works could advance our civilization by millennia. Nova Spark, recently promoted after the Mars discovery, added his voice. The tablets specifically mention they're waiting for species advanced enough to help them. Maybe that's us. The collective has mastered technologies the architects couldn't have imagined when they wrote those warnings. Arrogance, Elder Lumina flared brightly. The same arrogance that led so many civilizations to ruin. The tablets don't just warn, they beg. Whatever caused humans to choose stasis must have been truly terrifying. Cora Vex moved to the center of the chamber, her form now pulsing with a quiet intensity. What terrifies me is the thought of leaving this knowledge untouched. We've detected quantum fluctuations around their facilities. The stasis fields are evolving, changing. What if they wake up naturally and we're not prepared? Wouldn't it be better to study them now, under controlled conditions? The chamber erupted in mental chaos, thousands of thoughts colliding in a cacophony of agreement and protest. Supreme Coordinator Zen Ra called for order, his form blazing with authority. "We will vote," he declared. "But first, Researcher Vex, outline your proposed safety protocols." Cora's form steadied, emitting a confident glow. "We start small. One facility, minimum power scans. We've identified a stasis pod that seems slightly different from the others, possibly a monitoring station. If we could just access its data core." "You're playing with forces that could destroy everything we've built," Security Director Blaze warned. No, Cora corrected, her thoughts precise and clear. "We're preparing for an inevitable future. The humans will wake up. The only question is whether we'll be ready when they do." The vote that followed was close, too close. In the end, curiosity outweighed caution by the thinnest margin in collective history. They would proceed with research, under strict protocols and endless safeguards. None of them noticed the tiny fluctuations in their neural network, the subtle changes in the quantum field around them. None of them realized that the humans weren't just objects to be studied. They were listening. And they were amused. The research facility on Titan hummed with nervous energy as Cora Vex supervised the first authorized probe of a human stasis pod. Her crystalline form glowed with barely contained excitement, casting green shadows across the ancient machinery before her. Power levels at minimum, Nova Spark reported, his orange form monitoring a complex array of sensors. Quantum shielding in place. "We're ready to begin initial scanning sequence." Nixis Bright hovered nearby, her blue radiance dimmed with concentration. "Remember, at the first sign of anomalous activity, we shut everything down." Understood. Cora pulsed confidently. "Begin primary scan." The research team had chosen this particular pod because it showed slightly different energy signatures than the others. They theorized it might be some kind of control station or monitoring system. The pod sat alone in a small chamber, separated from the main stasis halls where millions of humans slept. A thin beam of quantum-calibrated light touched the pod's surface. Data began flowing through their neural network, causing ripples of excitement among the researchers. "These readings are incredible," Nova broadcasted. "The pod's shell isn't just metal, it's some kind of living alloy. It's adapting to our scan in real time." Cora moved closer, adjusting her sensory inputs. "Look at these energy patterns. They're almost like neural pathways. This isn't just a stasis pod, it's processing information." "Wait," Nixis interrupted, her form flickering with alarm. "Something's wrong. The quantum field is fluctuating." Before anyone could react, a surge of energy pulsed through their scanning equipment. The beam intended for gentle probing suddenly intensified, boring into the pod's surface like a laser through ice. "Shut it down," Nixis shouted through the neural net. "Shut everything down now." Nova Spark scrambled to cut power, but the equipment wasn't responding. "I can't. The pod, it's drawing power directly from our quantum matrix." The pod's surface began to glow, patterns of light racing across its metallic skin like lightning in fast motion. A low hum filled the chamber, vibrating at a frequency that made their crystalline forms resonate uncomfortably. "Emergency protocols," Cora broadcasted. "Everyone out. Now." But they couldn't move. Some force held them in place, their crystalline structures vibrating in perfect harmony with the pod's frequencies. Through their neural network, they felt rather than heard a voice, ancient and amused. Now that the voice echoed in their shared consciousness was rather rude. The pod's surface rippled like liquid mercury, and a figure began to emerge. Not a fully awakened human, but something between sleep and consciousness. A quantum ghost, a probability shadow taking form before their sensors. "Did you really think?" the figure spoke, its form flickering between states of matter, "that we wouldn't build in security measures? That we wouldn't leave guardians?" Cora managed to adjust her frequency enough to speak. "We meant no harm. We only wished to learn." The figure's laugh sent cascading harmonics through their neural network. "Oh, we know. We've been watching your debate, your votes, your careful plans. Quite entertaining, actually. But you should have listened to Elder Lumina. Some warnings exist for a reason." Alarms began blaring throughout the facility. On their monitors, they watched in horror as energy levels in the main stasis halls began to spike. "What's happening?" Nova's thoughts radiated panic. "Chain reaction," the figure said simply. "Can't wake just one of us, you see. We're all connected. A quantum neural network that makes yours look like two tin cans and a string." Nixus's sensors detected movement from the main halls, the pods. "They're all activating." "Not all," the figure corrected. "Just this sector. Call it a small demonstration. A little taste of what's to come. After all, you wanted to study us, didn't you?" The figure began to fade, its final words echoing through their consciousness like bells of doom. "Congratulations, collective. You wanted to do research. Well, now you're part of the experiment." In the main halls, pods began to open, one after another, like deadly flowers blooming in the night. The collective's instruments registered power levels beyond anything they could measure, reality itself beginning to bend around the awakening forms. Cora Vex, watching through the facility's cameras, finally understood the true meaning of the ancient warning. It wasn't about protecting the universe from humans. It was about protecting humans from themselves. The Titan facility's emergency containment fields shattered like glass as the first fully awakened humans stepped out of stasis. Cora Vex watched in horrified fascination as their most advanced force fields, capable of containing supernovas, crumbled before a casual wave of the human's hand. "Security teams, hold position." Security Director Blaze's thoughts thundered through the neural network. "Do not engage. I repeat, do not." His orders cut off as a human woman with silver-streaked black hair walked straight through the quantum-reinforced wall, as if it were mist. More humans emerged behind her, each moving with impossible grace, their eyes glowing with internal light. "Fascinating," the silver-haired woman spoke, her voice somehow perfectly understandable in their neural network. "Your civilization achieved quantum consciousness without losing individual identity. Points for creativity there." Nova Spark, still trapped by the quantum harmonics, attempted communication. "We mean you no harm. This was a research accident." "Oh, we know exactly what this was," another human said, a tall man who seemed to flicker in and out of existence as he moved. "You got curious. Couldn't help yourselves. Had to peek under the cosmic equivalent of do not open until Christmas." The facility's automated defense systems activated, filling the air with quantum disruption beams designed to break down matter at the subatomic level. The humans reacted with almost bored expressions. Some simply ignored the beams. Others caught them like solid objects, examining them with mild interest before tossing them aside. "Now that's just rude," the flickering man said, plucking a beam out of the air and tying it into a knot. "We just woke up. At least offer us coffee first." Nix's Bright adjusted her crystalline frequency, trying to make sense of the impossible sensor readings. "Your powers, they're not technological. You're actually manipulating fundamental forces." "Give the glowing crystal a prize," a younger human laughed, juggling miniature stars between his fingers. "Though technically, we're not manipulating anything. Reality just sort of suggests things to us now, and we suggest back." The silver-haired woman, who seemed to be their leader, turned her attention to Cora. "You're the one who pushed for this research, aren't you?" Cora Vex, the ambitious scientist who couldn't leave well enough alone. Yes," Cora managed, her form pulsing with a mix of fear and wonder. "Good. Curiosity is important, but so is timing." The woman raised her hand, and suddenly the entire facility lifted off Titan's surface, hanging suspended in space. "We went to sleep for a reason. The power was growing too fast, too strong. We were losing our humanity to it." Through the facility's windows, they watched as more stasis chambers across Titan's surface began to activate. Humans emerged into the void of space, walking through vacuum as easily as air. Some began reshaping the moon's surface with casual gestures, creating crystalline structures that defied physics. "You see," the flickering man explained, "humanity had a little problem. Evolution kicked into overdrive. One day we're sending rockets to Mars, next thing you know, little Timmy from accounting is accidentally creating black holes because someone stole his lunch. The architects Nix's broadcast, they helped you enter stasis. More like they begged us to," the silver-haired woman corrected. "They saw what was coming. Humanity wasn't just evolving. We were becoming something else. something that could reshape reality itself. But we weren't ready. The power was growing faster than our wisdom. A massive ship of the collective appeared in orbit, its weapon systems charging. The humans didn't even look up as the ship suddenly transformed into a flock of glowing butterflies, scattering across Titan's sky. "Don't worry, your crew is fine," the young star juggler assured them, just taking a little time out to reconsider their life choices. "What happens now?" Cora asked, her scientific curiosity somehow overriding her terror. The silver-haired woman smiled, and for a moment they saw through her eyes, glimpsing the universe as humans now perceived it, a playground of infinite possibility, a canvas waiting to be painted with dreams. "Now," she said softly. "Now we wake up the rest. You broke the seals, started the cascade. No stopping it now. 800 billion humans, each one carrying the power of gods, about to rejoin the universe. Hope you're ready for some changes around here." "We'll try to be gentle," the flickering man added with a grin. "But you might want to hold on to something. Reality's about to get a bit flexible." As if to emphasize his point, a group of newly awakened humans nearby began casually rearranging Titan's rings into a giant spiral staircase leading to the stars, complete with safety railings and mood lighting. The collective's representatives could only watch, their carefully ordered understanding of the universe crumbling as humans treated the laws of physics like polite suggestions. The sleeping giants were awake. And they were just getting started. Supreme Coordinator Zen Ra watched through the collective's quantum network as reality itself began to unravel. Across 23,000 solar systems, stasis facilities burst into activity. Humans emerged not just by the millions, but by the billions, each one wielding powers that made the collective's most advanced technology look like children's toys. Status report he broadcasted, trying to maintain order as their civilization faced its greatest crisis. There, redecorating, Sir Security Director Blaze reported, his ruby form flickering with disbelief. A group in the Proxima Centauri system just turned a gas giant into a cosmic water park. They're calling it Splash Universe. The humans in the Orion sector are worse, Elder Lumina added. They're playing ping-pong with neutron stars. Actual ping-pong. They've set up a tournament bracket and everything. Before Zen Ra could respond, space itself seemed to fold inward. The void between stars rippled like fabric, and suddenly their entire council chamber had new occupants. Hundreds of humans stood or floated among the crystalline forms of the collective's leadership, examining them with amused interest. At their center stood a woman who radiated authority even among beings of godlike power. Her white uniform seemed to shift between multiple dimensions, and her eyes held the wisdom of eons despite her apparent youth. "Commander Alexandria Stone," she announced, her voice carrying through both air and neural networks simultaneously. "Former head of Earth's Space Force, current administrator of Project Chrysalis, and very recently awakened from a lovely nap that you lot decided to interrupt." Zen Ra gathered his courage. "Commander Stone, we apologize for." "Oh, save it," she waved her hand, causing Zen Ra's next words to transform into butterflies. "I'm not here for apologies. I'm here because you've created quite the mess, and now we need to clean it up." A holographic display appeared in the chamber's center, showing the rapidly spreading chaos. Some humans were creating pocket universes for fun. Others were inventing new colors that broke most species' visual processing systems. A particularly enthusiastic group had started a business offering instant terraforming services, complete with satisfaction guarantee and free lunar landscaping. "You have to understand," Stone continued, pacing through the air, as if gravity was beneath her notice. "We went to sleep for a reason. Humanity wasn't ready for this level of power. We still aren't, technically. But thanks to your meddling, we don't have the luxury of sleeping until we are." The architect's Cora Vex spoke up from her position among the council. "They said you needed help controlling these abilities." Stone laughed, and reality laughed with her, creating ripples of probability that turned several nearby asteroids into modern art installations. "The architects were scared spitless of us," she corrected. "They saw what we were becoming and realized they couldn't stop it. The best they could do was help us hit the pause button until the rest of the universe caught up enough to survive our awakening." As if to demonstrate her point, a human child floating near the ceiling accidentally sneezed, causing a small big bang that had to be quickly contained by 3 adults before it spawned another universe. "You see our problem?" Stone gestured at the new constellation of stars, now spelling out "Sorry Mom" in the distance. "Raw power isn't the issue. Control is. Understanding is. We needed time for our consciousness to evolve alongside our abilities. Nova Spark, always the scientist, couldn't help asking, but how is this possible? These capabilities defy every known law of physics. Known to you, maybe a human teenager responded, casually solving a millennium-old mathematical proof by folding it through 11 dimensions. We kind of wrote some new laws. The old ones were too restrictive. Commander Stone nodded. Unfortunately, now we're all stuck with the consequences. 800 billion humans, each one basically a reality-warping demigod, all waking up cranky from the mother of all naps. And the power's still growing. She gestured, and the holographic display zoomed out, showing the ripple effects of human awakening spreading across galaxies. Space-time was becoming more like space suggestion time, with causality increasingly negotiable. Within a week, the average human will be able to create or destroy solar systems with a thought, Stone explained. Within a month, they'll be able to rewrite the fundamental constants of the universe. Within a year, she trailed off, shaking her head. What do you need from us? Zenra asked, finally understanding the true scale of their mistake. Partnership, Stone answered simply. We need teachers, guides, stabilizing influences. Your species achieves something remarkable, a collective consciousness that maintains individual identity. We need that wisdom, that experience in balancing unity and individuality. She turned to address the entire council. The architects thought we needed handlers, wardens to keep us in check. They were wrong. What we need are friends, equals who can help us remember our humanity while we figure out our new place in existence. A junior researcher tentatively raised a crystalline appendage. But how can we be equals when you're so much more powerful? Stone smiled, and for a moment they saw through her eyes again, witnessing the terrifying loneliness of godhood, the desperate need for connection that even unlimited power couldn't fill. Power isn't everything, she said softly. You built a civilization on cooperation, on shared knowledge and mutual growth. We need that, because right now we're basically cosmic toddlers with unlimited power and no instruction manual. As if to prove her point, an explosion of rainbow light burst from a nearby solar system, followed by a sheepish broadcast, "My bad. Still getting the hang of galaxy painting." Commander Stone pinched the bridge of her nose. See what I mean? So what do you say? Will you help us find our way? Because ready or not, humanity is awake, and we could really use some friends who can show us how to play nice with reality. The collective's leadership looked at each other, their neural network humming with rapid communication. They had started this chain of events. Now they had a chance to help guide it. Besides, as several members pointed out, saying no to 800 billion reality-warping humans probably wasn't the wisest career move. Commander Alexandria Stone stood before the combined council of the collective and newly formed Human Oversight Committee. Her dimensional uniform rippling with the weight of what she was about to reveal. The chamber had been expanded to accommodate representatives from both species, though the humans had to constantly remind themselves not to accidentally phase through the walls. Before we formalize this alliance, Stone announced, there's something you need to know. The real reason we chose to enter stasis. The silver-haired woman from Titan, now identified as Dr. Aurora Wells, stepped forward. We didn't just go to sleep because we were becoming too powerful. We went to sleep because we saw what was coming. The chamber darkened as she conjured a vision of the universe, not as it appeared to normal senses, but as humans now perceived it. The collective representatives watched in awe as reality peeled back layer by layer, revealing something vast and hungry lurking between dimensions. We call them the Void Hunters, Stone continued. They're drawn to advanced consciousness, to species that breach the barriers between thought and reality. The architects didn't just help us enter stasis out of fear. They helped us hide because they knew we were the only ones who could stop what was coming. But why sleep? Cora Vex asked. With your powers. Because we weren't ready, Dr. Wells interrupted. Our powers were too raw, too uncontrolled. We needed time. Time for our consciousness to evolve. Time for the universe to produce species capable of teaching us balance. Species like yours. Stone nodded. The architects knew the Void Hunters would return. They've been culling advanced civilizations for billions of years, feeding on their quantum consciousness, preventing any species from reaching their full potential. But they didn't count on humanity. You see, a young human physicist added, casually juggling quantum singularities, we're not just powerful, we're weird. Our consciousness evolved differently. We don't just break the laws of physics, we reimagine them. The Void Hunters can't predict us because we barely make sense to ourselves. Supreme Coordinator Zen Ra's crystalline form pulsed with realization. The stasis pods. They weren't just preserving you. They were incubators, Stone confirmed. Each cycle of sleep increased our connection to the quantum fabric of reality. We weren't just growing stronger, we were becoming something new, something that could face the Void Hunters on their own terms. She waved her hand, and the vision shifted, showing dark shapes moving between galaxies, drawing closer to civilized space. They sense us now that we're awake. They're coming. But this time, we're not alone. We have you. U.S. Elder Lumina flickered with surprise. But compared to you, we're perfect. Dr. Wells interrupted. Your collective consciousness, your unity while maintaining individuality, it's exactly what we need. We have the power, but you have the control. Together. She never finished her sentence. Reality shuddered as something vast touched the edge of known space. Alarms blared across 1,000 worlds as the Void Hunters made their presence known. Commander Stone smiled, and it wasn't entirely human anymore. Right on schedule, ready to help us save the universe. The collective representatives looked at each other, their neural network buzzing with rapid communication. Here they were, offered a chance to fight alongside the very beings they'd feared, against an enemy that threatened all conscious life. Besides, the young physicist grinned, we've got a great benefits package. Full dental, paid vacation, and your very own pocket universe on weekends. As if to punctuate his joke, another human sneezed nearby, accidentally creating a temporary rainbow nebula that spelled out we come in peace, mostly. Stone rolled her eyes. We'll work on the control issues. But right now, we need allies. Partners. Friends. What do you say? The collective's answer was unanimous. After all, they'd already broken the universe's one rule about waking the humans. They might as well go all in and help them save creation itself. Though someone really needed to talk to that guy who kept turning black holes into cosmic water slides. There had to be regulations about that sort of thing. Even if physics was more of a polite suggestion these days,